think a lot of comics have gotten bad because they make too much money from their podcast. And so they're putting too much effort into that. I want my effort to go toward the stage.
Oh, you think it's been a little poisonous for the industry? The cotton candy of how sloppy you can be in a form 3 times a week,
Absolutely.
as opposed to the way you do it, which is clearly sculpted very carefully.
I mean, the podcast isn't sculpted. We're just going out there and doing it. But I think people have made so much money from podcasting that it's made stand-up comedy as an art form worse.
I think you'd be surprised.
I never hear anyone say anything good about Theo Von, Tim Dillon, or Joe Rogan stand-up. And it's clear they don't really care about it that much because they don't need to. As long as they have a popular podcast, they can sell tickets and get Netflix specials. So they have more of an incentive to focus on their podcast over their stand-up. Like, podcasts have really helped comedians promote themselves. You know, now they're making more money than ever, but also made it so comedians don't really need to care about their stand-up act anymore, which Anthony Jeselnik explained pretty well during this interview he did while promoting his last special. You know, he's been a big critic of the Rogan sphere and the negative impact it's had on comedy.
I think a lot of comics have gotten bad because they make too much money from their podcast. And so they're putting too much effort into that. I want my effort to go toward the stage.
Oh, you think it's been a little poisonous for the industry? The cotton candy of how sloppy you can be in a form 3 times a week,
Absolutely.
as opposed to the way you do it, which is clearly sculpted very carefully.
I mean, the podcast isn't sculpted. We're just going out there and doing it. But I think people have made so much money from podcasting that it's made stand-up comedy as an art form worse. I think that goes to the individual, right? Because clearly Anthony has a podcast and his stand-up is still great. Joe Rogan, on the other hand, he had a special on Netflix and he was just there for the money because he's out of touch, right? You can easily see that. And he's also trying to, make fun of things that are culturally, they're like, the trans stuff and all that stuff that people like have a lot of conversations about and debate about, but ultimately those jokes could be funny. You can make jokes about that, but I think when Rogan did it, they were all hacky. Honestly, they were all hacky jokes, and that shit sucked. Like, everybody saw it.
The trans
men get pregnant. I'm willing to say pregnant men. I just don't think it's a good. I think you need extra words. Maybe we should use extra words.
Oh no, there's that silence again. Hearing more and more of that as the audience grows weary.
Trans women are women. How about most? How about almost all? You gotta leave room for crazy. Just jokes, folks.
When they put this line in the trailer for this thing, I thought he must have said something truly edgy, but now I'm seeing it as actually a massive cope, uttered during a major bombing.
Just jokes, folks. No one's getting hurt.
Notice that sniff there? That is one of Joe's tells. He does it on the podcast all the time. It's a nervous tick that comes out when he feels awkward about something embarrassing he just said.
When you see a good stand-up special, you can see it, right? You're not knocking out. You're not being like, oh my God, what the fuck? This joke is like, this is not funny at all. Even the crowd will tell you, right? Unless you're that delusional, which Rogan is. Obviously now at this point, he's delusional and he thinks he's still funny, even though sometimes he can't make sense of things sometimes when there's a comedian there who's making a joke and he's like, what?
I have a tapeworm.
For real?
Yeah. It's about almost 4 feet. Have you ever had one?
You really do?
Yeah.
He doesn't get it at times, but I think that's just Joe. But with other people, yeah. I think Tom Segura, when he did that show on Netflix, those thoughts or what, I don't remember the name, but that show, it was fine. But I think also we got to watch out with the narrative at times, because there are people that are like, he's rich, but his main craft, which is comedy, it's slipping by. He just doesn't care anymore because of all the podcast money. But that depends, right? Like Anthony Jeselnik does podcasts, but it doesn't affect him. So it's on the individual.
That's without question is happening. People are making more money. If your success is making money, you're doing just as well. But if it's about making the art of stand-up comedy great, it's suffering. It's gotten bad.
I think you'd be surprised.
Oh my God. Yes, he's approaching the stool. Here we go. Yes. Now's his chance to win him back. No, damn it. Just another tease. And by the way, why didn't Joe film this in his comedy spaceship? That's too bad. I'm surprised he wouldn't want to give the place some easy advertising. Joe is normally very prolific with his advertising work, often able to squeeze several dozen ads into one podcast episode.